What's up everyone, it's Dr. Hops here with another episode of the adventures of SkillerHops and IronHops. Let's hop to it. I started this 2-week period really Iron Meanie and really grindy. In order for me to do Lunar Diplomacy, I had to get 61 crafting. That means I had to find a way to be efficient with my crafting. I did the quest Hand in the Sand, so I could have access to more crafting XP and more efficient sand. I also did Skippy and the Mogres, sounding like an early 60s band, so I could get flippers. I got the flippers after killing 4 whole Mogres. I know that took way too long, but then I decided that I needed to stay even longer for the Mud Skipper hat, which took me a few more kills, but all in the name of fashionscape. Worth it. After that, I decided to try my luck at the Lobster Aussies in the sea at Fossil Island. They clapped my cheeks because I was using secateurs like a noob. So, in order to get access to a Brine Saber, I did the quest to get me to Brine Rats, which was Olaf's quest. I completed that and got to grinding. This is by far the most grindy that I have been on this account yet. I spent 11 hours on Brine Rats. 11 hours on a weapon that I will probably never use again. Thinking to myself, was it really worth it? And in the time it took for the game to decide that I was worthy of the saber, I got coins, lots of runes, a lot of noted sharks that I cannot cook, a lot of noted lobsters that I could cook, and I advanced a few strength levels along with a hit points level. Eventually though, I was successful. I did get a Brine Saber, and it was glorious. I only ended up being a little bit over the drop rate, but it was not enough to prevent the rage, so I decided to take a break from my crafting endeavors to investigate more fashionscape throughout Gillinor. Luckily, I was able to meet Zoro in Lumbridge. Very cool. And I was able to do my first official Tears of Guthix run after completing the quest. I found out that it is dang near blasphemous to get anything except for rune crafting or herb lore XP from Tears of Guthix. Found that out the hard way. Next, in anticipation of the Lobster Aussies clapping my cheeks again, I decided to stock up on some food. Another adequate break so that I could get a couple of levels and continue being efficient. My cooking went up to 55 and I also gained a fishing level. In other Iron Meme news, I finally got enough money to make my mouse match my weapon. That's right, the Dragon Scimitar is now mine. That is hot. Even though I didn't get to use it, and I had to use the bloody Brine Saber, I resumed my crafting grind and went to go face the Lobster Aussies. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I definitely got enough seaweed spores so that I could add seaweed to my farming runs, which I was able to start and sufficiently fly through the levels. At this point, I was averaging about 18 to 24 giant seaweeds per run, which equated to anywhere from about 100 to 150 soda ashes once I cooked them. In another break from my grinding, I completed a clue scroll. I got something called Holy Sandals. Didn't really realize what they were until I looked them up, but I realized that they contributed greatly to my fashionscape, especially with the socks. So, with a little help from my friends and their fashionscape, I started gathering as much sand as I could get so that I could begin my molten glass blowpipe grind. I did finally get my crafting level, but not before I realized that I couldn't boost my magic. So I had to spend a little bit more time on Slayer before I could start Lunar Diplomacy. But we did make it. Can we keep going? Nope. We are not gaming right now. I'm gonna try up. For f***'s sake, let me finish it!
Alright. Now I've done this quest before.
After an absolute mess of a task, I finally made it to the finale of Lunar Diplomacy, where I had to fight the most difficult foe yet, myself. But I emerged victorious, and I finally completed Lunar Diplomacy. It took 2 months of grinding to get to this point, but I finally achieved my goal of fashionscape. My next in-game goal became Recipe for Disaster. I've already done some parts of it, but I realized that there were some quests that I still need to do. One of them was Big Chompy Bird Hunting. I finished that, and then quickly realized that Hunter was now my lowest skill. You cannot use your tiers of Guthix on Hunter, so I spent a little bit increasing my Hunter skill so that I could use my tiers where they should be, rune crafting and herb lore. After figuring out that 53 thieving was a requirement for Desert Treasure, I found my way over to Hosidius, where I discovered the Purgatory that are the plows, in order to get 15% favor. After gaining that favor, I moved over to the fruit stalls, where I spent my time gaining 53 thieving. Taking a look at the requirements for Desert Treasure, I completed Ictlorin's Little Helper and moved on to the Temple of Ikov. After completing both of those quests, I decided that I wanted another break. So I went after some tasks that I had been neglecting, including agility, which got me to level 77, and farming. I can't believe I forgot my seaweed! Per the request of some of my viewers, I completed the easy diaries in the Lumbridge and Draenor area. I guess he liked it, because he put a ring on it. I think it'll be really fun to get the upgraded versions of this ring too when I do the other diaries. I also got a lamp. In my time in Gielinor, I figured out that anytime you get a lamp, you're just supposed to use it on herb lore. So, that said, I used my lamp on herb lore, got 2,500 experience, and got to celebrate a new level, 43. Very nice. Also, during some of my spare time, I got to accompany another small streamer and some friends in a square dancing competition. Kidding. But we did square dance while he got to enjoy his new ranger boots. Speaking of fashionscape, I encountered Dragonstone Armor for the first time in the Ardoin Bank. Looked it up, looked up how hard it is to get, thought about giving up, but thought to myself, could this be endgame goals? We'll find out. Overall, IronHops is flying through the levels, even though things seem like they're going pretty slow. SkillerHops is not far behind. She's at 76 fishing and 79 cooking. My goal with SkillerHops is still to get to 99 fishing and cooking. I'm moving closer to 85 in both of those categories. As soon as I get there, I'm planning on hopping over to a members world so I can fish sharks and anglerfish. Find me on Twitch so you can be part of my epic search for fashionscape. Thanks for hopping by, and I'll see you next time.